Hello and welcome back to Right to Choose with Dr. Yana Harris and Mrs. Christine Cooper. Hello,
Hello,
Christine.
everyone. Hey.
All right, so tonight, if it's your first time joining us, just want to give you a little background. Christine and I are both post-abortive, and we decided that it was important to do a podcast to start the conversation about abortion healing and abortion in the Black community. So tonight we will be talking to siblings of an aborted child who happen to be my children. So today we have with us my daughter, Faith Emmanuel McKinney.
Hello, everyone.
And my son, Ryan Williams. All right, so it's going to be a very interesting night. They're quite the silly ones today. So we're going to see how this goes. Christine's going to lead the conversation today, and just we'll see where the conversation takes us tonight, if that's all right. All right, Christine, take it away.
Okay, thanks, Iana. So first, thank you both so much for joining us. I know that the topic of abortion is not easy to ever speak on, so we definitely appreciate you coming on and just having the courage really to talk about abortion and how it has affected your lives, rather the knowledge of abortion concerning your mom. So how is it, rather, have you ever had an opinion of abortion before you knew that your mom had one? And if so, what was that?
Well, that's a really great question, Christine. I actually don't remember a time in my life where I didn't know about my mom's abortion. I feel like she was very transparent with me from the beginning, probably due to the decisions that she made as a young woman, and with her just not wanting me to make the same ones. So I feel like there was no before knowledge of not knowledge of her abortion. And I feel like mainly because of that, I had always felt like it was something that I shouldn't do, or something that wasn't the right thing to do. And as I got older and was led to a point where I had to make the decision whether or not I was going to keep my unborn child, it just kind of it led me to not choose abortion also. Um, but even then, now I still feel, at the age of 23, I still feel like it's not a right decision to make. It personally, in my opinion, I do understand why people do it, but I could just never see myself making that choice.
Yeah. Thank you. Yo, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You're fine. I've kind of just like always known, because like my mom kind of just told me what happened. And I think like I could be wrong, but I think the way I found out was because she has like a tattoo of like our brother's name on her foot. And I asked about it, what it was. So that's kind of how she told me, and that's kind of how I found out about it. So like I've always known to I have a brother that's not physically here, but I know that he's here with us.
Yes. And so actually you brought up my next question. So the fact that you know and you resonate the fact that you have a brother, right, that actually what is not here due to the truth of your mom's abortion, how does it make you feel to know that you have a brother and he isn't here due to that specifically?
Um, it's hard not having like an older brother to like look to look what's the word to look to look up upon. Um, so like in cases of like, oh, what would any guy do? I kind of just confused myself. Oh Lord.
You don't have that role model.
Yeah, but
God.
even like I don't have a like guy role model like that. Like I know that I have other people to look up to, like my sister's husband. I look up to him because I know that he's like a good prime example of like what a good older brother would do.
How does it make you feel that you lost him to abortion?
Um, it's sad in some moments because that's like somebody's life and they didn't get to live. But like I know that he's in a better place where he doesn't have to worry about all the different things that we have to go through every day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for me personally, it's always been a struggle. Um, I used to cry at night when I thought about my brother, and I think I remember writing letters to him or praying to God about him because I knew that he existed and I didn't get to actually talk to him or know who he was. And I'm a very emotional person when it comes to my relationship. So, like, to me, I had a relationship with him that never really got to start. Um, so I I really had a hard time with that before. And so now I'm to the point where I guess I'm coming to grips with it and I'm understanding like, I will see him again one day in heaven. But it really hard. And the fact that it was to abortion definitely sucks. I mean, just to say it plain, it sucks because it's not like it was I guess a natural cause of death. I'm sure it hurts just as bad as someone being born and then getting their life taken in any other form. Um, so yeah, that's just kind of how I feel about it.
Okay. And then in relationship with your mom, once you all came into the knowledge of um, having a brother and him not being here due to abortion, did that affect the relationship that you had with your mom at all? Like the truth about that for any season or period of time?
I don't feel like it affected my relationship with my mother because, like I said, I found out so young. Um, I feel like the knowledge of knowing that it was wrong didn't maybe come until a little bit later. So it was just kind of like it was the equivalent of knowing like we had family members in heaven. That's just kind of what it was. It was just like, oh, Xavier's in heaven. It's like, oh, okay. I aborted him. Like, oh, okay. I mean, it didn't sound like anything crazy at the time. But even after finding out more about abortion and what it was, it didn't make me look at her any different. It actually made me admire her more, as weird as it sounds, because she had to make a really tough decision at a very young age. And I feel like I identify with her so much more because of it, because I was at the same age she was when I had to make the same decision whether or not to abort my child. And I know it's not an easy one at all. And so just, having the knowledge of her story and knowing the situation of the relationship that she was in and everything, and her making that decision to not keep Xavier, it doesn't affect how I feel about her just because I know that she did the best she could at that time in her life.
Um, I didn't really, it didn't really like change how I see my mom because at the end of the day, if I'm mad at her or not, she's still my mom. And like, I just think about like how grateful I am that she did decide to keep me and my sister. And just like as I got older, like I became more humble about it because like I wasn't mad. I was just curious. Like the more I became curious, the more I got mad about it. So now that I'm older, I'm kind of like, well, I know that he's in a way better place than where we are. Like I know that we're gonna end up seeing him soon, and maybe he'll have some stories to tell us.
Right. So thank you both so much. I know that Iana identifies as a mother of three, two living children. Do you, Faith, in particular, identify as a middle child?
Um, I actually never identified as a middle child. I feel like I didn't get the opportunity to get the middle child benefits. I kind of had to step up and be the older sibling, so I don't have the luxury to make all the mistakes Ryan does. I kind of got a path for him, unfortunately, but I know for sure if Xavier was here, I would be acting a fool. That's all I got to say. I would be middle up.
You'll be taking your place. I get
I would
it.
definitely be taking my place. I mean, but it's not a bad thing. I mean, I just got to do what I got to do, holding it down for him.
Yep.
Brother and sister.
Absolutely. Um, Well, thank you both so much. Like I said, I know that these conversations are never easy, especially because you probably hear them more often than most people, considering the line of work or volunteerism that your mom is a part of, which is
Yeah.
amazing. Abortion healing and helping other women to um, see really the love of God if they have chosen to make the same decision as she did. So, knowing what she does as far as activism in that respect, how do you how does that make you feel?
Well, I'm gonna steal the show again. Like I said before, I admire her for that, and I feel like she influences me and a lot of other people to step into their destiny too. I definitely learned from my mom that sometimes you or God uses what you see as a mistake or something that's really ugly for His benefit, and it ends up being something really beautiful. So the fact that she's chosen to use her abortion as a way to help heal and minister other women who've gone through abortions, I feel like that's really beautiful. And it's led me to want to be able to help young girls who are teen moms and getting pregnant and stuff and things like that. So I feel like she's really, um, she's influencing people. And I really, really like that a lot. Right.
Yeah.
You asked the question again.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to remember the exact way I asked it. With the way that she has turned her abortion really into activism to help other women receive and understand the love that God has for them if they have chosen the same path of abortion. How does that make you feel knowing that this is how she's chosen to use her abortion story?
I think it's good because, like Faith said, it can help other women with their decisions, and also because my mom she'll talk about it with me sometimes, and I'll gain more knowledge, and I can help like other people, especially at school because at this day and age, no matter how old you are, you can get pregnant, and help them try and make the correct, like not persuade them to force them to have like the child, but trying to persuade them into not giving up their child's life and having an alternate idea.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, of options. They could choose differently. And I think that's amazing. And that's really what it's about, right? We use our past as far as the things that we learned from and recognize there are other options that we can take. There are other ways that we can choose. And then we take that into our present, into our future to help other people see that same light. So that's amazing. Your mom is amazing. I'm so glad that you both joined us tonight. Iana, anything you would like to add to this conversation?
Yeah, it's always fascinating to just kind of sit on the outskirts of a conversation where you have a particular set of knowledge and you get to learn other things. So for our listeners, Ryan is 16, Faith is 23, and I was very intentional about telling them about my abortion. And like Ryan said, even early, I remember like riding in the car and having the conversation with him but even having to tell it in a way that he would understand. And then knowing that he would grow into being able to have those conversations, and it becomes a springboard for more conversations about choices and consequences in life. And even with Faith being young, growing up, I remember there were things that she knew earlier than my family probably would have preferred for her to know. But I was very clear that when I asked her certain questions about things, even from a sexuality standpoint, there was stuff that she knew based on her friends and school and all that stuff. And I was like, we are already behind the curve on information, and it's so important to make sure that we're filtering the information that we give our children. So I know there are a lot of listeners who may feel like, male and female, who may feel like they don't need to share their story with their children, or what benefit would it be. I think it speaks a lot to build a relationship. And a lot of times I think we as parents give off this perfection vibe, like we've done no wrong. And that's so far from the truth. And we can't be in these situations where it's the do as I say, and you know, I don't want you to make these mistakes, but we don't even share with our children kind of the path that got us to hot messness. When Faith was little, I struggled very much with severe mental health issues from my abortion. Um, and she had to live through that. And to this day, she always says her junior high years were her best years, and for me, they were my worst years because emotionally I was absent. And
Mhm.
you're like, people will talk on another show about another episode about how abortion affects your mental health, but it's real. It's very real. And raising children after can be a challenge. We had an episode, I think episode 102 is parenting living children, and how challenging that can be. So I think it is important to have these conversations. We talk very much from a space about having conversations, hard conversations, in our family units and in our friend groups, um, as people of color. Like, Black people don't talk about it. Black people don't talk about their mistakes. Um, you just don't always know the story of someone that got them to whatever place. And I think it's important that we tell about our choices, because, you know, it, it may not prevent someone completely, but at least they know, at least they know what the consequences were in your situation. So I think that's important. Um, but I would
Right.
I'd like to ask the kids, they're not kids, but ask them to talk about what we do the day after Christmas every year, and just kind of share a little bit about that.
Yes, it is a Christmas.
I don't recall that day. I'm just kidding. So how many years has it been?
Oh.
Well, we don't recall the amount of years, but for several years now, even when I didn't live here, I would come back for the day after Christmas. We go downtown Jacksonville. Lord Jesus,
that.
he really didn't remember, guys. We we go downtown to Jacksonville to this building that is a church in what is it called? First Baptist downtown. But that's not the point of this story. There is a wall attached to this building, and it is a memorial wall for babies who are in heaven due to abortion. And we go every year to the wall. My brother Xavier has a plaque on the wall, and it has his name, the date that he was supposed to be born, which was December 26, 1992.
Oh, he's about to call 6. Hold on.
He's kind of old. And we go, and depending on the year, it just kind of depends on what we do. We've done anything from bring a gaggle of people with us and pray. Oh yeah, we brought cupcakes. I thought it was. We brought cupcakes and balloons, and sometimes we'll leave stuff for him. Not that he's gonna get it, but just the thought that counts. Just to be honest. And we pray every time. My mom cries every time. Recently, we've started going on Facebook Live just to give awareness to the wall. It's actually really, really sad when you go to the wall. Not sad because the babies have been aborted, because we know that they're with God now. And the women who've placed these plaques on there have, been set free. They're healed. But it's more so sad that the wall is so empty. And it just reminds you that people still don't feel like they have the right to grieve their child's death. So we go there every year just to remind people that you can do stuff like that. And like I said, sometimes we take people with us, sometimes we don't. We'll take my son Keelan with us sometimes, and he really loves going there because he knows about his uncle Xavier. His middle name is actually Xavier after his uncle. Um, yeah, you have anything to add, Ryan?
Um, I just like going because it gives like my mom a chance to like let everything out because I know she likes to hold back her emotions sometimes, and like it gives her a chance to like let things out and like well just let her know that we're always there for her and that that we're on her side no matter what, even if she didn't even though she didn't make a good decision, she made a decision that was best for her, which was um, sending him to heaven.
Mm.
That it's fascinating, and my kids are very unique to me, of course, but every year we take pictures at the wall, take pictures in different ways, and every year they push me away and say sibling picture. So they want to, they take a picture next to the plaque, and sometimes we'll go on Mother's Day in different times. So it's different. And we had a man one time asking us about the wall, like, and why we were there, and all these different questions, because he'd seen the wall, he'd worked near the wall for a long time, and he said, I've never seen anybody here. And I told him about the wall, like as Faith was telling you, the space where we're able to honor babies who are lost to abortion, because if a person is buried, people are able to go visit a graveside. They're able to go and place flowers at a grave. But women who have aborted their children have not been given what we would call the permission to grieve. And that is very evident by the consistent shame where women don't share or express that they have had an abortion. And if we want to take it a step further, there are people in high levels of ministry who are preaching and teaching around the country and around the world who've had abortions, but it's the thing they won't talk about. And they feel very judged and shameful in this space. So it is a constant need for us to bring awareness. And every year I try to challenge people who are post-abortive, people who have gone through our abortion healing Bible studies, and people who walk through different experiences, to place a plaque in honor of their child, because it's important. It's very important to do that as well. And
Yeah,
yeah, that's just real.
absolutely. I do want to ask a question based on kind of what you said, just kind of like the fear, or rather the shame, I guess, of not talking about it, even if it's to friends or to family, in your case, to your children. So I understand how you came to discuss it with Faith. It sounds like it was more of probing into what she kind of already knew, and based on how she would answer questions to determine, okay, this is the time to have that conversation. But with Ryan and him just noticing the tattoo, it sounds like that conversation may have been a little bit more off guard. Not sure, but can you explain, having that conversation with him versus with Faith, also considering that he is a young man versus a young lady? How was that for you, Iana?
Um, I funny, I've actually thought about this a lot. I have a friend who talked about the fact that her daughter, she talked so much to her daughter about her crisis pregnancy situation and her abortion, and just made it sure to drill it into her daughter about how important it was to parent her child, or at least give birth to her child when she got pregnant, all these things. And then when her son got pregnant, he chose abortion.
Mm.
Kicked herself because she felt like she didn't tell him enough. She didn't share with him enough. And We have to remember that one of the roles of a man in God's order is to protect life. And we as a society many times have taken that role from fathers and from men because we say things like it's a woman's right to choose. And it's her body. I can't tell her what to do with her body. If I could tell you how many times I've heard that. And sometimes
Right.
I know for sure that there is a great value in the presence of a father, the presence of a man in those conversations, and it's necessary. It's very imperative that men are involved in these dialogues. And I wanted to continue to help my son understand that he has a responsibility and a role in his choices as well, because babies don't get here by themselves, and they don't just get here with a woman. It does require a man and a woman to make a baby. So at whatever point my son finds himself in a situation, I don't want him to feel like he's not equipped with some tools to make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So like now at 16, the conversation is different than it was when he was 8. So the 8-year-old conversation that mommy made a bad choice, and the reason your brother isn't here is because of a choice mommy made. The younger version of it, well, the older version of it is different. It's the version that comes with, hey, so when you find yourself in these situations and these unplanned pregnancy, it like I even had to back it up to this is why you don't have sex, to back it up to the effects of relationships at a young age with young women. And it opened the door, and it leaves the door open for those conversations. And I don't know, my kids may get older and be like, dog, she always harping on it. She always harped on it. But you'll hear me in your ear when it's time to consider things, when it's time to make those decisions, those choices. So it was different. It definitely different, but it made me, her conversation with me, that friend's conversation with me made me really know that I needed to help my son and other young men know how important their voice is, because there are women who, once they say, I'm pregnant, the first thing they're looking to is the response of the male. Like, if he says, okay, we're doing this, a lot of the chances are that she's going to keep the baby because she's not in this situation by herself. If there's you do whatever you feel is best kind of situation, they feel abandoned. So I think that it's important to teach our sons. It's important to teach our brothers. It's important to teach our cousins. And because they are responsible for life just as much as a mother.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely not an easy conversation, but definitely want to commend you for having it with both of your children. And not only having it one time, but to keep the conversation going, as they continue to grow and as you all's relationship continues to grow. Because whether they are in the situation themselves, they're going to know somebody in the situation. And as much as they can have about it, definitely create more opportunity for them to help someone else choose differently. So, and that's what we talk about on right to choose. This is why we have the platform. So thank you all so much. I think that closes our interview for tonight. I think that we've really gotten some great insight from both you, Faith, as well as Ryan. And thank you also, Iana, from giving us your perspective as the mother having to tell them, as well as the courage that it takes to do so. So thank you all.
Amen. Well, thank you. And if you're listening and you or someone you know has suffered the pain of abortion, or you just want to join the conversation, you can follow us on Instagram at Break Free Abortion Healing, or you can email us at breakfreeabortionhealing@yahoo.com. Just reach out, let us know that you're listening. Let us know if there's something you feel like you want us to be talking about. If there's some dialogue that we're not having that you're like, hey, are you going to talk about this area? we're here for it. We're open to it. And I appreciate you, Christine, as always, for keeping the conversation going. And we look forward to talking to you all next time on Right to Choose.
Yes. See you later.
Bye-bye.